Guys good?
Yep.
It's not too often you do anything other than watch film to prepare for an opponent. How relevant is that November matchup to what you guys are going through?
It's relevant. The teams are going to tweak and change and be better at this time of the year if they're still playing. But the base is the same for both teams, and the way that they play and the way that we play, it's very relevant. They're better. Mayo didn't play against us. They have they're getting a lot more consistent production out of every position, so they're better. But we're better too. In that game, Barlow and Cam Woods combined for 3 minutes. So now they're two of our top 7 guys, and that's kind of how the way the season progresses in a lot of circumstances, and that's why you hope to be playing 4 months later to see all those changes.
Is it two physical teams meeting? I'm sure that they're viewing you as physical. Obviously, you view them as that their strength.
Well, I think they would. You would say that they've been the more physical team, and we need to be able to stay with them in that regard. There's no question about it. They are huge on the interior, as you guys know, and they do an unbelievable job going to the glass. They're 21st in the country in offensive rebounding. I think they're top 12 in 2-point field goal percentage, and they get to the line in the top 20s too. So there's no doubt that paint is important.
What about the guards getting inside, slashing, dribble drive?
Yeah, that's part of getting to the foul line, obviously. And, then when they make shots like they did against Davidson at the end of that game, you just kind of sink in your chair and you're like, what are you going to do now? You're going to have to do everything as well as you can. I will say this, every time you create a game plan for a great player, it looks great for about 32 minutes, and then great players show up and make plays. And Vander Blue is a great example of that. He had only hit a 3, I think, in his first couple of games, and then he hit 3 threes against us in Maui, and now he's got 21 points, and we were lucky to throw in a hook shot to win that game. So we'll have our hands full and keep them in front of us, but again, I think it's protecting that paint's an important part of this deal.
You talked yesterday about in the tournament getting through that first game and things become normal. How was practice today, and do you like where your guys are at right now?
Yeah, it was really good. It's interesting. Michael Lewis is kind of here for the first time with our group. Everybody else that's been on our staff or been around just kind of has this experience. I guess a couple of our GAs are the same way, but he was talking about how we're very businesslike when we need to be businesslike, and very kid-like after that. And I think that's what we've always been. And you guys have been in our locker rooms. Our guys are they're goofballs, and they're normal, and they tweet stuff, and you just kind of look at them like, hey, you are 18 to 22. I forgot that. But that's what they do, but they're good at turning that switch, and this group's the same in that regard.
Brad, you hear a lot of, obviously, cliches in sports, but the way your team responds to adversity, especially the way they did yesterday, is that underestimated, undervalued?
I think it's undervalued big time. I think the other part of it, Dave, is that how you respond to success. This team didn't lose to anybody in the bottom 150 of the RPI all year. They never took anything for granted. They've always worked the right way. They've always approached it the right way. Did we have lulls where we weren't playing as well? Yeah, everybody does. But they just kind of stayed the course and always took the right approach, and I respect them for that.
How much do you enjoy a day like today? Your practice is done, and I'm sure there's going to be just a little bit of film work.
But for me, I try to be as good with the film work, be done with the film work by the time practice begins. So I still have some loose ends to tie up, and we'll continue to do that all the way through game time tomorrow. But the major time is between the time you find out who you're playing and the time you step on that practice floor, because I think practice has to be right. The most important thing, I told our guys this on Sunday, the most important day is Monday's practice. The most important thing last night was today's breakfast film, and now the practice. The next most important thing is tonight's film. How much can we get out of those 15, 20-minute segments is going to be really critical to see how well we can play.
Did it feel right?
It's felt right so far, but that doesn't mean anything. You still have to beat good teams. It felt right against Old Dominion, but we had to tip one in at the horn to win it. It felt right against Pittsburgh, and there were 2 fouls at the end that none of us could have predicted, and yet that was the way you won it, and it's just the way it goes.
What can you say about Buzz Williams and the way he approaches coaching and what he does with his team?
He really gets the most out of his team, and they play really hard. And his passion, I've been with him at some retreats and some other things. His passion doesn't stop. It's not an act. He is all about ball, and he coaches them, and he coaches them hard. He coaches them well. He's just done a good job. I told him the other day at our coaches meeting that we have to go to, I learned a lot more about his team than ours in Maui, because we throw in a hook shot, yeah, we're going to play well the next day. We throw in a hook shot against them, they're down, and they go out and beat the next two teams by 20 plus. I mean, that tells you a lot about the character of their kids and the character of their staff and how much they get out of one another.